All right. Welcome everybody this is actually a different type of video. I want to respond to comments. There's always a lot of interesting comments I get from some of my videos, and I always wanted to respond to them individually. Sometimes I do comment on them, but I thought it'd be better just to do it in video format. And I have about a couple of them. I don't know how many I'm going to go through. I'm going to try to just do it for 20 minutes of just responding to comments. But let me just respond to the first comment that I actually looked into. So the first comment is actually from one of my videos where it's about how to alleviate depression. And this comment says, in my humble opinion, isolation has been pretty good. I'm an introvert as it is, so I'm trying to isolate myself in every area. I apologize, BOS, for the delay on the interview as I've been between jobs. However, I'm suffering the same fate here as my new gig. The last thing I'm going to go for is trucking. If that doesn't work out, I don't know, man. I might just off myself. Okay, so first off, there's a lot to talk about with this. Let me first talk about the isolation thing and the introvert thing. I'm an introvert by heart as well, too. So having this condition didn't really affect me in the worst way possible because I already was like to myself a lot. I didn't really talk to too many people and stuff like that. But speaking from experience, I've had this for like 17 years and stuff like that. It feels pretty good because you don't have to deal with people, therefore you don't have to deal with reactions, therefore you don't have to deal with rejection. And ultimately, you feel, I don't know, I guess you have a better you feel better about yourself because you don't have to go through stressors and anxiety and all that stuff. But overall, isolation is bad. Isolation is really bad for you in the long run because when it comes down to it, at least this is what I've been dealing with when I've been really looking up to my life and acknowledging that I don't really have that many friends and I don't really go out and hang out with people, and that affects me. There's plenty of times where I just feel lonely and get depressed because of loneliness. That affects you mentally as well. You know, there's so many times where I'm like, man, I really wish I could hang out with somebody. I really wish I can do this or that. But of course, with this condition, you could possibly hang out with people. You could possibly befriend people, but you know they're going to be talking shit behind your back, or they'll have these like inside jokes with one another, and that'll affect you. So I don't know. I feel completely different about I had the same type of perspective at a certain age, but as I grow older, I tend to feel completely different about it. But going back to like trucking, which is another thing you were mentioning, trucking, I do feel that trucking might help, but I would definitely, I'm not a trucking expert, so take what I say with a grain of salt. But trucking definitely will help. I went to trucking and I went to a trucking school, and it was the worst. I had really terrible experiences of just dealing with people and then trying to stay focused. Like it's really terrible. And at the same time, I paid for, there's different ways you can actually take trucking school. One is you could pay out of pocket. Another way you could do is you can go under contract to someone where you have free schooling, but after you get your license, you have to work with whatever company for a number of years. I remember there was this one school that was saying that they will pay for my education in trucking, but I would have to be under them for 2 years. I have to work for them for 2 years, and then after the 2 years, then I can go wherever I want to become a trucker. So you should take that into consideration. And also, if you are going to get into trucking, you should try to do a Class A as opposed to Class B. I have a Class B license, and those are those vehicles where they are like, I don't know what the type of trucks. Go to the 18-wheeler trucks. Those are like the Class A vehicles. Those are the vehicles where you're going to get paid big money. As opposed to, like, look at that truck right there that's actually within the picture. That's like a Class B operated vehicle. You, at least within my area, you get somewhere between like $12 to $18. And many of the times it was around like $12 or something like that. And in my area, they demanded that you were bilingual. So if you're going to get something, definitely get Class A. And lastly, to the point of like suicide, and you're saying, oh man, if this doesn't work out, I might kill myself. Man, I don't know, man. I feel like when you have those types of thoughts, you should seek a therapist. But I know that therapy is so fucking expensive. I was just trying to look for therapists in my local area, and I have health insurance. And bro, some of these therapists cost like $450 without insurance. So it's fucking crazy. It's funny in this world that now people are like, oh, mental health is so important, and we got to take care of our mental health. But these fucking therapists are like fucking cheating the system and shit. I had to pay $450 just to talk to you for an hour about my life? Really? And all they're going to do is just nod their head and say, interesting. You know what I'm saying? So I get isolation definitely plays a factor when it comes to depression, and also leads to suicidal thoughts because you feel like you're by yourself and no one gives a damn about you. So I get it, but I don't know, man. At the end of the day, I don't know. I'm not no fucking therapist or professional. I shouldn't really consult or try to tell you what to do with your life. But I think you should try to look forward to the future, even if it does suck right now. Think like maybe eventually there's going to be a breakthrough, and that's what happened to me. I mean, I could really go into this, but I just spent like 6 minutes ranting about this. So on to the next question. All right, so the next comment says, I'm glad your channel is still alive. I am 17 years old and I really badly need help. Please suggest me what to eat and not to eat for TMAL, and please suggest me what to drink to lessen this curse. Should I use turmeric powder, and is it effective? That's random. And what if I can't avoid eating red meat for at least a little? Should I avoid it, or should I lessen the red meat that I take instead? Please, I need any response from a random person or you. Okay. So, man, these comments, there's a lot to say about these comments. The fact that you're 17-year-old and you're dealing with this, so you must be in high school or something like that. Or maybe, I don't know, maybe you dropped out. But I know with high school, it was really, like every stage of my life was really bad. In high school was bad, in college was bad, and when I was going out into the workforce is bad. But to be fair, like, earlier days, it wasn't as bad. I feel like the odor or the intensity wasn't as bad. But let me just first say this. I guess to answer the question or suggestions of what you should eat and what you shouldn't eat, I would suggest, if you have something similar to me, and I don't have to actually have TMAL, so I don't know if my suggestions would really help you. I would suggest to avoid eating any animal products, which includes meat. And whether it's red meat, white meat, whether it's dairy, ice cream, cheese, I would suggest avoiding all that type of crap, to be honest. I would suggest not eating those things. I would suggest to eat more plant-based things and food that probably is a lot easier to digest. So I would suggest, I don't know what type of fruit. I actually try to follow a FODMAP diet. So I forgot the actual acronym to FODMAP, but those types of food include anything from like potatoes to rice, just any type of green vegetable. But in terms of fruit, there's certain fruit that you tend to avoid. I know oranges are okay on the FODMAPs, lemons, limes are okay on FODMAPs, but anything like apples or what else, cantaloupe or watermelon, apparently that's bad. But first, I think the best thing to do is try to just go on a vegan diet. Maybe a vegan diet would just be better. So all you have to do is just avoid animal products. Because from my experience, avoiding animal products, avoiding processed food, and avoiding anything with processed sugar actually worsens it. So that's one of my suggestions. Drink a lot of water. Drink more water than normal. You shouldn't just drink the recommended daily amount of 8 glasses of water. You should drink more than that, because this is some unknown illness or very rare illness. So you really need to flush it out your system. I would suggest to exercise more. I would suggest to exercise or try to sweat it out more. If you are a intense sweater, I would suggest to do that. If you have a sauna or you have the capability of getting into a sauna, I would suggest that. What else did you ask? Turmeric powder. Turmeric is, I think turmeric has what you call anti-inflammatory properties. So that's good, but I don't know if that's really going to lessen your smell, but it still be good for your body. It still be healthy. So when you ask how effective it is, effective in what way? Effective in eliminating your odor? I don't think it would, but effective in improving your health? Yeah, I definitely believe that. And when you're asking me if you should avoid red meat altogether, I would recommend to avoid red meat altogether. But if you cannot, yeah, you should just try to limit it. Limit it as best as you can, because typically, for me, in my case, it made me smell worse. What else did you ask? That's pretty much it. Other than that, you being 17 years old, yeah, it's very hard to actually try to do diet at within your teenage or early 20s, because you're not going to be able to, you might be able to find jobs, but the jobs that are available, they're not paying you well enough to really, pay for your groceries, bills, or other things that you need to pay for. So for people in their early teenage to 20s, it's going to be really difficult to do it. It's only until when I actually had a living wage, it was a lot easier for me to actually follow a diet and stick to it a little bit better. But on to the next comment. All right, so the next comment is, hey, have you ever tried the sea salt technique? Okay, I tried this technique when I was in college. I think what he means by the sea salt technique is, I think you're trying to flush your system out. You take, I don't know how much sea salt you do, but you consume sea salt with water and you continue to consume it. And this is supposed to be some type of like cleanse from your body. All this does is give you a lot of diarrhea. And yeah, I guess you're cleansing, you're removing stuff from your body, but that didn't do anything for me. People still said, because I did this in college, so even after I did that, I still got bad reactions from people, or I would still overhear comments from people. So I don't think it's as effective as people try to portray it to be. But you can try it if you think it's good. Next comment. All right, so here's the next comment, and I guess I had to give some context about this comment. This comment was from a vlog I made that was talking about how I went to a gastroenterologist and I asked him to do every test they can do because I want to check out what could be the possibility. Is there something wrong with my liver, something wrong with my pancreas? What could be the possible causes? And if I can figure out if there's any, I don't know, something that's not really working properly within one of my organs, maybe that'll be a better clue and I can move forward with that, because that is the ultimate goal, is to figure out what the hell is wrong with me, because apparently T-Mal might not be the cause. But let's read the comment. So it says, bro, as soon as you said you wanted to do all the tests, he said, hell yeah, because that's money in the bag. He ain't gonna help. Here's the thing. I honestly feel like a lot of doctors go on autopilot, They make the big bucks. They probably they've probably seen hundreds, maybe thousands of patients every year, to the point that, they probably ask, or they're dealing with like 5 to 10 of the same issues. So they can easily, suggest, hey, you should do this, or hey, you should try this procedure and whatnot. And they do that so much that I don't think they have as much compassion or empathy or even curiosity to figure out, hey, maybe there's something more than the typical issues that many of my clients come in here for, whether it be, I don't know, IBS symptoms or diabetes or whatever the hell. So I do feel like, with the fact that a lot of physicians go on autopilot, they don't really give a shit. Like, there's so many situations where I've been in an office, I've been in a doctor's office, and I was only there for like less than 5 minutes, because it seems as though like these doctors just want you in and out so they can just continue to, I don't know, fill up their bank, or, just say, oh yeah, I think you should do this. Oh yeah, or they'll say, oh yeah, there's nothing wrong with you, because they don't really have enough information to go off of. They can't figure out if there is a possible test or a diagnosis they can give to you. So they're like, oh, there's nothing wrong with you. oh yeah, by the way, that's like $350 or some shit. You know what I mean? Like, or if you don't have insurance, or if you do have insurance, all right, that'll be about $50. You know what I mean? There's so many situations where I went into doctor's offices and they only shot me for like 5 minutes, and I'm trying to explain some stuff to them, whether it had to do with body odor or not, or this weird condition or not. And it seemed as though they were on autopilot. They say, you know, well, I don't think that's going to be a big issue for you. Maybe another factor is the fact that, you know, I was younger. So they naturally assume, okay, you're young. You probably don't have anything wrong with you within this age range. But if I was like 45, 50, 60 years old, maybe they'll be more concerned about my issues and say, maybe I should look into this and do some, recommend or send out some tests for you to take, because maybe it's because your body's breaking down slowly. So I understand the sentiments that, you know, doctors don't give a shit at all. They're just there for the money. And I really feel that. That's why I just didn't go to doctors for a good minute. But then I just said to myself, bruh, I gotta figure this thing out. And yeah, I'm gonna go through some doctors who are just full of shit, but they don't seem like they want to be helpful, and they're on autopilot, and they just thinking, okay, I gotta see my next client in the next 5 minutes, so I'm just gonna tell them to fuck off politely. But I think there are doctors who legitimately are concerned, and even though they don't have the information, they are, genuinely curious. I do feel that the current gastro I went to seemed like he was somewhat curious about it. So maybe he is in it for the money. And at the same time, I don't even know if doctors really get paid off of the fact of how many tests a client or patient has. I don't even know if that's a thing. If it is, well, that's interesting. I think that'll be very interesting, because based on my experiences, I would assume that many doctors would try to suggest any and everything just for the littlest things they do, just for the littlest things you complain about. But my experience is that never happens. So I don't think there's anything incentivizing doctors to give out tests for people. I don't think they get any payback, or they don't get commissions, or I don't know the proper word to use, but I don't think they get actually money off of any test that is recommended by a patient. But I don't know. I don't know anything about that. In any case, I got to try everything. I got to exhaust all options. So maybe he is doing it for the money. Maybe he's not. Who cares? I got to figure it out myself. Or at least this condition, what I mean specifically. Next comment. All right. So the next comment has to do, again, with the vlog where I was talking about going to a gastroenterologist and taking all these tests to figure out what's wrong with me. There was like some tests where they had to check my stool to determine if I have H. pylori, and then some other stool tests for like testing out my pancreas or something like that. So this is on within that video. So let's read the comment. I had all those tests RL recently, and all came back negative. The gastro doc did tell me that I had a high amounts of undigested fat observed in my poop. Thinking about it now, he never showed me those results, but I tend to agree. This is called malabsorption. My poop was often diarrhea-like and floating. Poop was starting to smell really bad. I sometimes would leave my house because the smell would be so bad throughout the neighborhood. I would go to a nearby restaurant or hospital to poop because I was ashamed of the smell in my subdivision, and perhaps hoped that a doctor would come in the bathroom and say, I recognize that stinky poop smell and know what causing it. After a bowel movement, the smell is usually the worst for out 4 hours, with even sitting in the tub and bathing everything for like 20 minutes each time after I pooped. The digestive enzymes have improved this condition of my about 80%, where I don't smell it as much or get those strange reactions from people. Yeah, it seems like the smell of poop each leach throughout my skin, and if I was gaseous from certain food, then there goes the neighborhood. Shake my head, getting much better, but fearfully this will come back like all the other things that I thought had it fixed, like IBS diet, treatment for SIBO, and treatment for Candida. All right, so this is a long one. Okay, so I think this commenter, we have something completely different, because When I make bowel movements, majority of the time they're not diarrhea-like. Um, and I don't know, maybe I'm just weird. Maybe my body's weird, but I think all bowel movements smell bad. I think all bowel movements smell like shit. Shit smells like shit. Surprising. But the thing that I want to say is there might be something interesting within this comment, because I think to myself that I don't, I've heard so many theories as to why people who are suffering from this condition or something similar to the condition I have, which is whenever you eat food or certain food, you tend to give off a smell and you cannot detect the smell. Within my condition or something similar to that, I do feel like it is a malabsorption issue, malabsorption, or there's certain enzymes that are not available within. I don't know. Maybe I don't know if it's deficient or not. They're not available in your liver or your pancreas. So when you eat certain foods, they don't get broken down properly. Therefore, it excretes out your skin or other bodily fluid, therefore making you smell. And since it's excreting out of all of your pores, it's going to give off a smell, but you're going to be desensitized to the smell because it's all over your body. Therefore, you cannot detect it. Now, I do believe this is the interesting thing about this condition, or at least within this channel, you get a number of just various people who have these odor issues, and it's not T-mal, it's something else. But since I talk about T-mal a lot, or a lot of people talk about T-mal a lot, and many of these people who don't have the health insurance or the ability to get it diagnosed, they'll say, oh, well, I have T-mal. But in this guy's case, it had to do with malabsorption, and the fact that his body couldn't break down, certain foods, and which make his bowel movements smell horrendous. But I'm going to be first to tell you that all bowel movements smell horrendous. I never smelled a poop that said, man, that smells pleasant. You know what I mean? I never made a bowel movement and I was like, damn, this is minty flavor. You know what I mean? Like, that's besides the point. In any case, yeah, IBS diets, treatment for SIBO, Candida. I want to say that recently I actually got some test results back from those like poop samples, stool samples I did, and it did say, the doctor did call me back and he told me that for H. pylori it was negative, and that wasn't really that surprising because I do recall like a couple of years within my early 20s I did some type of H. pylori test and it came back negative too. So, and I felt like I did it, I don't think I did it only once. I think I did it 2 other times. I think I did it once within college and then another time after college, years after college, and it came back negative. So I wasn't really surprised that the H. pylori came back negative, but there was another, again, stool sample that had to do with testing out my pancreas, and if those come back negative, again, I guess it's a good and a bad thing, because one thing I took off, I can at least say, okay, I at least tried these 2 things, and I need to jot them down and record them to determine or to tell any future doctor, okay, I tried this test, it came back negative, I tried that test and came back negative. So then I can slowly but surely narrow down certain tests that I know I've worked on or I tried and it didn't provide any unusual results or high amounts of whatever. So yeah, in this case with people who, at least within this commenter, who says, oh, I tried this and this didn't work, and it had to do with malabsorption, and he's taking digestive enzymes. I'm taking digestive enzymes too. I actually read he had another comment, and that was pretty much saying the same thing, which prompted me to reopen my digestive enzymes and start taking them as well, because I do think it's my body having the inability to actually break down certain proteins or other things, which is causing me to smell. So with his comments, his last couple of comments, I've been making sure to actually take more digestive enzymes. But on to the next comment. All right, so another comment. This is a simple one. saying, I feel you, bro. Would you like to do another group live? This was a comment within the side, another comment. So I wanted to address this comment about doing a group live where I don't know the last time I did this group thing, but basically, yeah, I just go on live stream and I send out links to people and then they hop on and they talk about their experiences or they talk about their life stories or what they're currently dealing with. I try to ask questions, and I try to get as many people on because I do feel that when you have, I don't want to say like-minded people, but people going through the same things, it is sort of comforting to hear other people's sides of the story. Also, it allows people to connect with other people who have similar stories, or maybe both of you can connect with each other and maybe figure out the issue yourselves. Because a lot of times when you try to do it by yourself, you try to look in and do your own research. It's hard because you have a lack of time or other responsibilities. But if you have several people, if you knew several people who have something similar to you and you collaborate with each other, maybe you'll figure it out by yourself. Man, it's already 26 minutes in. Damn. Let me try to get to the point. The point I'm trying to make is, okay, I did some type of group live sessions maybe months back. And the thing about these sessions is people have to contact me and tell me that they want to do these group sessions. If you don't comment or tell me, oh yeah, I want to hop on some type of hangout with you, then I will never do the hangout. I don't just do it I don't do it by myself. If I do it by myself, then, I never want to do it by myself. I like just chilling out on a Friday, but if everybody else wants to do something and hang out and talk about their experience, I will spend time on a Friday and open it up. So, basically what I'm trying to say is, I guess maybe next week I'll just do a hangout live, and if anybody comes out, cool, I'll send a link to you. You just connect with me on my email, and I'll drop a link so you can hop on, and if you want to talk about whatever, you can. And it probably will be like an hour to 2 hours long. I'm not going to go over 2 hours. I try not to. And so if anybody's willing to do all that, do a hangout, we'll try to chop it up and talk about our lives or things that are currently happening, or any helpful tips you might want to give to people. That would be awesome too. So yeah. All right, so here is the last comment, and this comment says, Jermaine, question, are you located in Miami? We're putting together a meetup in Miami, and we could really use the help of anyone who lives there as far as activities. Sheesh. Well, I didn't really see this. I never saw this comment until when I just started looking for comments. And I wish I was able to respond to this earlier because this is 2 weeks ago. But yes, I am located in Miami, Florida. And you guys are putting together a meetup in Miami. That's pretty cool. I could have sworn they were planning to do that a year ago, and even a year after that, a year before that, I mean. So I've been constantly hearing this idea of them doing a meetup. Maybe they have been doing those meetups for the last 2 years. I just never showed up. But we could really use help of anyone who lives there as far as activities. I could try to help the best way I can, but bro, I'm not really out there like that. Even though you see me footage of me just walking around random ass neighborhoods, I don't really know all the best activities to go off of in Miami. Because again, I am a person. I guess what's the word I'm looking for? I'm struggling on this word right now. I am somewhat of a hermit. Not even somewhat, a lot of a hermit. I usually stay in my house, and try to avoid social places. Sometimes I do go out because I'm fuck that shit. I'm not gonna allow people to hold me down. And then sometimes I'm I'd rather stay inside. But in terms of activities, what do you mean? Hand gliding, surfing, going to a shooting range. I mean, I guess I can tell you where to go to the coolest strip clubs. I've been to a few, I'm not a strip club connoisseur. I'm not even gonna front like that, but I've been to a few of them, and they're pretty cool. I could try to help the best way I can. I don't know what you want from me. I guess you want me to tell you the best eating spots. Well, I can't eat anywhere because, if I eat any type of good food that's overly processed, I'm probably going to smell like a camel's ass the next week or the next day, I guess. So I don't know. I don't know what you want from activities. I wish you specify what activities. I would try to help if I can, but I don't think I would be that much of help because I'm not a social butterfly like that. You're not going to see me out in a club every weekend, you know what I mean? But yeah, hopefully you could comment and specify what you mean by activities. But that's probably the last comment right now. Appreciate everybody for watching, and y'all have a good day, huh?